A Buddhist asks, Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Amitabha Buddha. My name is Phan Thi Lai, living in Viet Tri, Phu Tho Province. Dear Master, could you kindly answer my question about my family matter? My daughter is Vu Thi Lan Phuong, 38 years old. 2 months after she had given birth to the third child, she became weak. She heard someone talk to her that meditation was good for health. Because she didn't know, she listened. During her meditation, she puts on the chanting of mantras, Om Mani Padme Hum, in Sanskrit. She meditated for 10 days, and now she has developed psychotic symptoms, scaring of darkness and seeing many ghosts. In her mind, she hears the sound of many people, and even the murmuring sound, making her cannot sleep nor eat. Now her health is so weak, especially her baby son. When he was 2 months old, he suddenly called, Mom, for a few evenings. When he was 3 months old, he called grandmother. But since then, he has not spoken anything, even though he is now nearly 6 months old. Dear Master, can you kindly help my daughter so that she can recover from her illness and nurture her son? I wish you a new year that will always be healthy, and you will always be a big tree for us to rely on and practice according to. Namo Amitabha Buddha. This Buddhist is Phan Thi Lai, living at Viet Tri, Phu Tho. You all have already heard me read her question. The daughter of this Buddhist is 38 years old now. After giving birth, her health was not good. She heard others' advice that meditation will help her health. When meditating, she listened to the mantra chanting Om Mani Padme Hum. After a while, she developed a headache and showed signs of psychosis. Now she was so scared of the dark, fearful of people, and troubled in various other ways. That's why ancestors and patriarchs often said, practicing meditation requires teacher's guidance. What is a teacher's guidance needed for? Because when one sits in meditation, there are 3 essential aspects to cultivate. First is regulating the body. Second is harmonizing the breath. And third is centering the mind. These 3 are like the legs of a tripod. All 3 must be stable for true balance. Anyone wishing to practice meditation must learn to harmonize all 3. And to do that, it is often necessary to have a teacher. If not, then one must at least engage in deep and steady study of the methods taught by the masters and scriptures, learning how to regulate the body, harmonize the breath, and calm the mind. Only then can one sit properly and truly enter the path of meditation. This case, in meditation school, or according to the way practitioners often say, must be possessed by demons. We have witnessed many cases like this. Even those who practiced reciting the Buddha's name also encountered such troubles. In particular, more than a year ago, there was a student who had just graduated and worked for only a few months. One day, while on the bus, she followed a person in brown. I do not know whether that person was a Buddhist or not. That person told her that reciting the Buddha's name was very good and that she should practice it. From then, she began to recite Namo Amitabha Buddha. She sat and recited the Buddha's name all the time. A few days later, sometimes she saw the Buddhas. Sometimes she saw the Bodhisattvas. She gave rise to a joyful mind, and gradually she could even see the ghost. When she saw the Buddha, she was very happy. But when she saw the ghosts, she became terrified. So, after a while, she could neither eat nor sleep, and her hands and feet began to tremble. When her friend brought her here, her face was ashen and discolored. Her hands and feet were trembling, and so was her whole body. She was terrified of the light, afraid of crowds, and even scared of the Buddha. When she was brought here, I was working outside the entrance, at the Maitreya statue. She looked as if there were no soul left in her. I asked about the cause, and her friend said it was because she had recited the Buddha's name. I said, it is because the Buddha's name was recited in the wrong way. If one recites the Buddha's name with the wrong intention, one may be possessed by demons. Her friend pleaded, Master, please save my friend. Only you can save her. Her family and I had already brought her to places of worship, but she had not recovered, even after being taken to pagodas and places where people attempted to exorcise ghosts or devils. She did not improve. I said, a ghost does not cause this. It is just because her intention is wrong. Wrong intention is the cause of the matter. So the method is to correct her mind. Not everything can be solved by going to worship. Not everything can be solved by going to catch ghosts. But her health didn't improve. Her friends said that they went to see a monk in Haiphong to exorcise ghosts. I told her, ghosts do not cause this case. The ghost here arises from her own mind. It is not that external ghosts have affected her. Her friend said, my friend no longer knows anything. I said, it is all right. But can she still be aware and understand what I say? I asked her, do you understand what I am saying? She nodded her head, which meant that she still understood. But her awareness was not very clear. I told her, now you go home, and continued to recite the Buddha's name. She was so frightened that upon hearing the recitation of the Buddha's name, her whole body shrank. She shook her head and said, no, so scared? I'm scared of the Buddha. I said, no. The way you recited the Buddha's name before is different from the way I will guide you now, so take it easy. You should diligently practice, and I will guide you in reciting the Buddha's name in a way that will cure your illness. It is not the way you practiced before, which made you sick. This is the way to bring healing. When she heard that, her face began to brighten. We went to the living room, sat down, and talked for a while. Then I taught her a method of meditation and reciting the Buddha's name. Previously, when she recited the Buddha's name, she always did so with a single mind, but with the hope of seeing the Buddha. That was why she encountered such trouble. However, now when she meditates and recites the Buddha's name in the right way, breathing in and out, focusing her mind on the Danshan acupoint, then combining meditation with reciting the Buddha's name, breathe in and recite Na, breathe out and recite Mo, corresponding in turn to A, Ni, Ta, Bha, just like that. And within only 1 week, she became much better. When her friend first brought her here, she had already recovered about 80 to 90% and was mostly conscious. She returned home and continued to practice that method for a few weeks, and then she fully recovered. What does this story mean? It shows that when the illness concerns the mind, we must also use the mind to cure it. If an illness arises from incorrect practice, it must be cured by following the proper Dharma. The case in the letter I have just read is also surely caused by wrong practice. Someday you should bring her to the pagoda. Please bring her on the day without a retreat, because it will not be crowded. Or you may come here in the afternoon, on the days of the Siddhi Garba retreat. That is the time I am free, and I will be able to meet you and offer my help. During a Dharma assembly like today, I cannot meet you, let alone help you, because on these days, I wholeheartedly focus on the Dharma assembly and on the entire community of Buddhists. I do not even meet my own relatives. Just yesterday, some of my relatives came here. A few of them even knocked on my door, but I did not meet them. I told my attendant to decline. You should come on a day when it is not so crowded. Today, I can only answer your question, but I cannot meet you personally. In a few days, you may bring her daughter here, and we will try our best to help, as we have already helped with many similar cases. For example, last year, there was a man in Thuong Tin district who had followed a pagan practice and opened his chakras. Finally, he was neither like a human nor like a ghost, a half of human, a half of ghost. His hands and feet shook uncontrollably, and he could not eat or drink. But nothing is complicated. I told him to stay at the pagoda to perform Buddhist practices. and I taught him some exercises, after which he recovered. Yet he had to place his faith in me. The ill must trust their guide. Naturally, he recovered under my guidance, but you yourselves may also try it. See whether he can truly recover or not. This is the most important point.